Paris, 1894. A city of grandeur, intellect and revolution, but beneath the surface of this proud republic simmers something far darker. A toxic brew of nationalism, anti-Semitism and political paranoia. It is here in the heart of the French capital that Captain Alfred Dreyfus, a young, promising officer in the French army, is arrested and accused. The charge? Passing military secrets to the Germans, France's old and ever-watchful rival. Today we will uncover the story of Alfred Dreyfus and the trial that shook the French army. Following France's defeat in the Franco-Russian War, a nation was steeped in humiliation, nationalism and a bitter hatred for all things German, especially after the loss of Alsace-Lorraine. Though the army had regained its strength, it remained dominated by an aristocratic monarchist officer-style corps who held the republic in contempt and upheld a near-religious cult of the flag. Meanwhile, anti-Semitism had surged, inflamed by Edouard Drummond's Jewish France in 1886. In this charged climate, Alfred Dreyfus, a young Jewish officer, faced systematic prejudice throughout his military training and examinations to become an officer of the artillery. In 1891, Colonel Maximilian von Schwarzenkoppen was appointed to the German embassy in Paris, and it was an establishment closely watched by the French military intelligence. Though officially a diplomat, his true objective was to gather intelligence on France's military preparations. The French had managed to infiltrate the embassy through a domestic servant, Madame Bastaine, who acted as a spy. Her most significant discovery was a document addressed to the German ambassador, revealing sensitive details about French plans for new weaponry and a hydraulic brake system. Someone within the French military was leaking classified information to Germany. General Auguste Mercier, the French Minister for War, launched an investigation into the leak. Though suspicions had been circulating for months without concrete proof, amid mounting pressure from both the press and the public when it was announced, the army was desperate to find a culprit. A suspect would need to have knowledge of German, likely an artillery officer as well. Major Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer of Alsatian origin, was quickly singled out. Though many officers spoke German at the time, Dreyfus's background, combined with a deep-rooted anti-Semitic prejudice, made him a convenient target. On the 13th of October 1894, Alfred Dreyfus was summoned to the Ministry of War, where he was interrogated and subsequently arrested. Despite the absence of any concrete evidence linking him to the leak, he firmly denied all accusations, and even rejecting claims of a suicide attempt, stating that he wanted to live to re-establish his innocence. The following day, he was transferred to a military prison in Paris. The trial began at 1 o'clock on the 19th of December 1894. And a closed court was immediately declared. Dreyfus's defence was supported by a dozen witnesses, and the prosecution struggled with a major flaw: the absence of a clear motive. Dreyfus was a highly regarded, patriotic officer, wealthy and respected by his superiors, and with no discernible reason to betray France. Nevertheless, judges were handed a secret file, said to contain indisputable proof of his guilt, the contents of which remained classified fully up until 2013. Dreyfus was found guilty on the 22nd of December 1894, and he was escorted to 1895 to a military school in Paris, where the Republican Guard adjutant tore off his medals, his rank insignia, anything that identified him as an officer of the French army. He was paraded through the streets, and the crowd chanted, "Death to Judas, death to the Jew." He was then exiled to a colony, French Guiana in this case, to live the rest of his days within a walled fortification. After his imprisonment, the Dreyfus Arm movement had effectively began to ramp up. For context, the Dreyfus Arm movement was a movement which sought for the retrial and clearance of reputation of Alfred, whereas there was the anti-Dreyfus Arm movement, which was a right-wing anti-Semitic military movement who sought through threats of violence and complacency and coercion and other methods to destroy the pro-Dreyfus Rs, and then there was the anti-Semitic League, who were, well, anti-Semitic. After his retrial, these movements had begun to ramp up, and they began to clash within French politics, and especially within the military. Major Georges Picquart was appointed to the head of the SR, the French military intelligence service, and having closely followed the Dreyfus affair from the beginning, Picquart came across a compelling piece of evidence shortly after assuming his post. In March 1896, an intercepted, though unsent, telegram from Colonel von Schwarzenkoffen, discovered at the German embassy, was addressed to a certain Major Walsen Esterhazy. This document, along with others, strongly indicated Dreyfus's innocence, revealing a covert correspondence between Schwarzenkoff and Esterhazy. A former intelligence officer in the 1870s war, Esterhazy has a dubious reputation, erratic behaviour, and was heavily in debt. To Picard, he was clearly the real traitor, motivated not by ideology but by money. One of the most damning revelations of the affair came when Major Hubert Joseph Henry, a military officer, admitted to forging a document to support the case against Dreyfus. This forged evidence had been pivotal in securing the original conviction. When Henry's actions were uncovered in 1898, he was arrested and soon after committed suicide in his prison cell. The scandal surrounding the forgery dealt a major blow to the army's credibility and fueled larger public outrage. In January 1898, renowned novelist Émile Zola published a scathing open letter titled J'accuse on the front of the page L'Aurora newspaper. Addressed to the President of the Republic, the letter directly accused the military and judiciary of conspiring to wrongfully convict Alfred Dreyfus. Zola named specific officials, condemned the cover-up, and denounced the role of anti-Semitism in the affair. The article electrified public opinions and led to Zola's conviction for libel, forcing him to temporary exile in England. His bold intervention transformed the Dreyfus case into a battle for justice and truth. Alfred Dreyfus remained completely unaware of these developments, folding thousands of kilometres away. Despite the new evidence pointing to Dreyfus's innocence, in his 1899 retrial in a military court at Rennes, ended with another guilty verdict, this time with extenuating circumstances. The decision shocked the public and international observers who saw it as a blatant miscarriage of justice. Though Dreyfus was immediately pardoned by the President, the verdict exposed a deep rot within the military and judicial institutions, which prioritised reputation over justice. Exhausted by the ongoing miscarriage of justice and under immense political pressure, the French President issued a pardon to Dreyfus later that year. Though the pardon did not require an admission of guilt, Dreyfus had accepted it reluctantly, still insisting on his innocence, a step forward to ending his ordeal and beginning the long path to rehabilitation. After years of advocacy, inquiry and political upheaval, the French Supreme Court, the Cour of Cassation, officially annulled all charges against Dreyfus in July 1906. He was fully exonerated, reinstated into the French army with the rank of major, and awarded the Legion of Honour. He did eventually retire from the army, because why would you want to work for an institution that actively hunted you and your career? This marked a long overdue victory for him, although it came too late. During the First World War, he returned to active service, serving as the commander of an artillery depot in Verdun, and in recognition of his service, he was promoted to lieutenant colonel in 1918. I hope you enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it. I know this wasn't the post I'd made the other day on this channel of what I was going to upload next. That is in the works as well. This was something I just wanted to get up because it's been a while since I've posted something, mainly due to university, other personal commitments. I'm on holiday for 2 weeks, so I wanted to get this out there so we could all have something to watch. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.